Hi guys, a few weeks back I posted a video called 10 super rare tracks from Oasis you've probably never heard of. I shared a bunch of really obscure deep cuts, but in the comments loads of people pointed out a really good selection of other brilliant rare tracks, some of which I knew and some of which I didn't. So today I thought I would present part 2, but with all of the 10 tracks having been supplied by you guys, the viewers. Some of the hardcore will already know all these songs, but a few of them are so random and rare that there's a good chance most people will find something new here. But before we get started, I wanted to say a massive thank you. My channel just hit 10 million views, which is a massive milestone and really exciting. Onwards and upwards to the next 10 million. And if you're down south, don't forget that me and my band are playing at the Camden Eye in London on December the 9th, 2023, supported by the Front Rank. It's a free gig, so if you'd like to come down and hear some of the stuff off my album live, it would be great to see you there. And now, onto the songs. We'll start with 2 that are kind of reasonably well known. This is a Liam written song, one of his best as well, that was originally intended to go on Don't Believe the Truth. It ended up being released, however, as a very under-the-radar, download-only EP, simply called Boy with the Blues EP. And for some reason, this single is always left off Oasis discographies. You can't find it on Spotify as one of their singles, even though it is. You can't even find it on iTunes anymore, where it was released as an iTunes-only exclusive. However, even though it's constantly overlooked and forgotten, this was a genuine Oasis single. I don't know what you guys reckon, but I think this song is better than the online-only singles Don't Stop and Lord Don't Slow Me Down, so it would be awesome to see this download-only EP appear on Spotify at some point. As it happens, however, the song ended up being used on the NCIS soundtrack, so thankfully you can still find the song. The link is in the description if you would like to go and check out what some might consider to be one of Liam's best songwriting contributions to Oasis. Next up is the B-side of the Boy with the Blues EP, a second Liam penned song called I Believe in All. Now this is also the Japanese bonus track from Dig Out Your Soul. It's another rare song that probably actually shouldn't have been a B-side. In all honesty, I think both of these tracks from the Boy with the Blues EP could have been included on Dig Out Your Soul on the album, replacing a few of the weaker tracks in the second half of the album. Both tracks were included in the box set version of Dig Out Your Soul, but with no disrespect to the writers of these songs at all, I would personally relegate To Be Where There's Life and The Nature of Reality to being B-sides, and replace them on the album with these 2 songs. But let me know if you agree or disagree with that in the comments below. This is a brilliant tune once again, and it's such a shame that these first 2 tracks, which could be 2 of Liam's best contributions to the Oasis canon, are so obscure and unheard of. I Believe in All is not on Spotify, but as always, it's YouTube to the rescue. Link below. Next up at number 3 is a really random one. This is, I think, from an Oasis tour of America in '95, where Noel is being interviewed on the radio in a quite silly, hyped up mood, and he just makes up a song on the spot. The song is called I'm a Chipper Son of a Bitch, and it's not copyrighted, so I can play it for you. Here we go.
Are you feeling chipper today?
I'm a chipper son of a bitch. 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 And I never get an itch when I'm a chipper son of a bitch. I'm a chipper son of a bitch. I'm feeling alright, actually.
Okay,
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling alright.
So especially chipper then. Are you going to say any one thing in this interview that'll make this like controversial, so it'll be a huge pull quote in the papers over here?
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
a
go.
chipper son of a bitch. I'm a chipper son of a bitch. I'm a chipper son of a bitch. No,
Nice.
nothing controversial. Oh, in fact, I ain't no chipper son of a bitch.
The negative.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's be honest, if Noel doesn't re-record this one day with a full-blown country and western banjo-twanging backing band, the world is definitely missing out. I think, however, what he was actually doing in true 90s Northern bloke style was just taking the piss. Because he then goes on to sing a cover of Pink Floyd's Goodbye Cruel World in a silly country and western style, putting on a stupid voice. He also muddles up the words to the Floyd cover, singing Goodbye Cold World instead of Cruel.
All right, we're getting out of here.
Say goodbye, cold world. Say I'm leaving you today. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Say goodbye, all you people. There's nothing that you can say to make me change my mind. Goodbye.
Yes!
Now, I seem to remember reading somewhere that this was actually included on the interview disc that came with the Definitely Maybe box set. However, mine is unopened, so I'm not going to open it to check, but let me know in the comments if that's the case or not. Of course, these little improvised moments are not on any streaming platform, but if you'd like to find them again, the link is in the description. Next up, it's an exclusive reveal. It's a very early demo of the song Whatever, which today I can finally reveal the origins of. In my previous interview with the Real People, they confirmed that they had recorded a very early version of Whatever with synth string parts that were written and performed with Tony Griffiths. However, Chris and Tony from the Real People are no longer sure where those master tapes are. Ages ago, in the comments section to that video, Mick Dude suggested this link might be the missing song. Now, I get a hell of a lot of messages, and the ones I respond to, sometimes I'm really slow because there's just so many, but I never forgot that comment. And in the last few days, I sent that track to Chris from the Real People, who has sat down with Tony and had a listen, and can confirm that is the first demo of Whatever. And even better, they can also remember who was playing what in the studio. Noel was on the drums for this demo, Chris Griffiths was on the acoustic guitar, Tony Griffiths on bass, and Liam on vocals, and they recorded that backing track live in the studio. Noel Gallagher then overdubbed his lead guitar part, and Tony Griffiths from the Real People overdubbed the synthesizer string parts, which he also wrote. Chris also added that there is now only one track from those sessions still to be uncovered, and that is Heaven Knows, a Real People cover that was also recorded and to date has still not come to light. If you haven't heard the Real People yet, go check them out. They're a fantastic band and some of the most important behind the scenes players in helping Oasis create their sound in the early days. And of course, this very, very early demo of Whatever, which is now officially identified for the first time, is not on Spotify, but the YouTube link is in the description. Number 5 starts with the song Shoot Down by The Prodigy, which is the last track on their 2004 album Always Outnumbered, Never Outgunned. This song features Noel's playing and Liam's vocals, so it could kind of be considered as an Oasis co-performance. The song Shoot Down, the finished version, is on Spotify and it's okay, but the version I actually prefer is a rarer version of the track called Gun, which is not on Spotify, but once again is on YouTube. I personally don't know a ton about the rare stuff in the Prodigy's back catalogue, but I think this is an early mix of the song that never got a proper release. To me, it sounds like a mad, brilliant mix of Oasis and Kasabian vibes, with some absolutely brilliant bass playing. If you only check out one of these two tracks, check out the mix Gun. Link below. Number 6 is Talk Tonight, the electric version. Recorded at Maida Vale in the year 2000 with Oasis Mark II, this is a complete reimagining of that song in the style of that time. It's really brilliantly performed and the bass playing as well is particularly good. It almost sounds like it's meant to kind of be the second half of the song Where Did It All Go Wrong? And I'm going to go out on a slightly risky limb here. Don't shoot me, but I think I might actually prefer this version of Talk Tonight to the original B-side. Or at least, I like it just as much. This is a rare example of Oasis Mark II perfectly bridging the gap between the passion and power of the band in the 90s and the clarity and musical excellence of the band in the noughties. But the real jewel in the crown of this version is Noel. This is Noel Gallagher in his old soulful vocal style with no auto-tune, just pure passion. This is one of his best vocal takes, hands down. Now, I know the Oasis B-side Heroes gets a lot of hate, unfairly in my opinion. I always loved that track, but the main thing I always loved about it was Noel's vocal take. For years I considered Heroes to be Noel's best vocal of the Oasis years, until I heard this. The electric version of Talk Tonight is now, in my opinion, even better. This obscure, tucked away little recording genuinely could be Noel's very best vocal performance from Oasis. And this isn't available on Spotify, but the YouTube link, once again, is in the description. And now on to number 7. Sticking with that same era, we have the semi-acoustic version of Where Did It All Go Wrong? This is taken from an American promo CD released by Epic, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a bit less dark and ominous than the official album version, and it's dominated largely by what sounds like a really lush 12-string acoustic guitar. This isn't just the old mix with the electric guitars removed, it's a completely new mix. If you listen to this back to back with the album version is a little more mushy and heavily layered. This version is much more open, clean and clear. It's a completely different version of the song and much less of a kind of heavy listen. The solo as well is played completely clean and it's really loud in the mix, but the playing, by Gem I assume, is so clean and professional that it's not any issue whatsoever. And this version also contains a little studio Easter egg that I'm not aware of having been released anywhere else.
Was that alright?
I think it was alright.
Once again, it's not on any streaming services, but YouTube is our friend. Link below. At number 8, it's a rare live moment. Oasis were playing in Japan on the 1st of October 2002 when Liam left the gig halfway through and went home because he was struggling to sing. The rest of the band were kind of left hanging, and so Noel took over on lead vocals, as so often happened back then. A young lad down the front shouted out a request during the acoustic set for the song Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve, and so Noel had a crack at it. However, as Noel started the song, he seems to kind of autopilot his way into the intro to something that sounds just like the intro to Fade In Out. He then kind of abandons the song, having screwed it up, and starts again.
This is a request from the young gentleman down the front to do a song by Richard Ashcroft.
And then, after the Fade In Out false start, he goes on to perform Bittersweet Symphony with different chords, but it's a great version. When Oasis toured, they pretty much had a fixed set list for all the gigs on that trip. However, because Liam's voice gave out and he left the gig, Noel really had to think on his feet for this one. If you look at the set lists for the gig right before and right after, they are identical, but here we have a genuine one-off, including not only what is possibly the only ever Oasis performance of Bittersweet Symphony, correct me if I'm wrong, but also quite possibly the only ever live Oasis performance of the B-side, You've Got the Heart of a Star, as well. Now, I may be wrong on that one. Let me know in the comments below if you're aware of any other live performance of You've Got the Heart of a Star, but I'm not aware of them ever doing that one anywhere else live. You've Got the Heart of a Star was actually on the Heathen Chemistry album itself in Japan, where they always added extra tracks. So, if you decide to go listen to that gig, make sure you check out those two unique moments, Bittersweet Symphony and You've Got the Heart of a Star. Number 9 is the demo version of the Hindu Times, and this is one of the better known tracks on this list, but I thought I would mention it because there are so many rumours that swirl around this version. It was officially released, but on the now somewhat obscure DVD singles that the band were then putting out. This demo is another track that has real Kasabian-esque vibes to it, and a lot of people in the Oasis fan community seem to actually prefer this version to the one that was officially released. I love it as well because it's one of the last examples of the way Noel used to write harmonies based simply on what he liked the sound of. In his vocal tracks on the harmony we get this incredible, really close, crunchy harmony that didn't appear on the final version, but I absolutely love it. But the main reason this track is so interesting is the lyrics, which are almost entirely different to the final version that appeared on the album. They are much more pointed and seemingly autobiographical than the much more vague version that was officially put out. The lyrics on the demo are complaining about somebody who is constantly getting high, leaving Noel feeling cold. And at this time in his life, Noel was coming off drugs and also going through a divorce. Now, I have no idea if this version really is about the ending of his first marriage, but that is what most of the rumours seem to suggest. And the demo version seems so raw and personal, lyrically speaking, that I can see why some people might reach that conclusion. I've got no idea whether it's true or not though. Again, it's not on any streaming service that I'm aware of, but the YouTube link is in the description. And finally, song 10 on this list is Solve My Mystery, a song Oasis recorded a demo of during the Standing on the Shoulder of Giants sessions. This track was eventually released as Revolution Song by Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. However, the Oasis recording we have of this song is really raw. It sounds like it's been recorded live in the studio, and I absolutely love it. This is a full band Oasis track from the year 2000 that has still never been released. And I'm going to stick my neck out once more and say, even though this is so much more kind of raw and rough around the edges, I genuinely prefer this version to the finished one released by the High Flying Birds. Noel isn't auto-tuned or quantized, the band are just playing loose and free, and it sounds live in the studio to me. And so I genuinely see this as a 100% lost Oasis track. The link is in the description. But now here are also a few honourable mentions that I'm just going to tag on the end. Scorpio Rising by Death in Vegas is a track that features Liam on vocals. Death in Vegas were originally the producers for Don't Believe the Truth, but those sessions ended up getting scrapped and to date have never been properly released. But apparently sitting out there in a vault somewhere is a full version of Don't Believe the Truth that was recorded with this band. So if you want some idea of what a collaboration between Oasis and Death in Vegas might potentially sound like, go check out Scorpio Rising on Spotify with Liam on vocals. This one isn't rare, it's really well known, it's got millions of hits, but it's definitely worth checking out if you hadn't heard of it before. The second honourable mention is Strawberry Fields Forever, performed 3-piece live in the studio in Japan. This is a really nice, chill acoustic version of the track with Noel on vocals and guitar, Gem on guitar, and Terry Kirkbride on percussion. And Kirkbride was the drummer on those rare tracks we looked at last time on the Goal soundtrack. And the final honourable mention is Teot. This is an instrumental track Noel Gallagher composed on the Be Here Now tour, which ended up on the X-Files soundtrack. It's not really an Oasis song per se, but because it was written on their biggest and best tour in the 90s and recorded and released in that period, it's still a really interesting little Easter egg from that time when Oasis were at their global height. Let me know if there are any other rare Oasis tracks that you think people should know about in the comments below, and as always, I'll see you next time.